Once again, good morning, children. Today we are going to discuss about genetic disorders. In the previous class, I made an humble attempt to explain about pedigree analysis, in which we discussed that the particular character or a disorder or any aberration will be seen in the genetic material of a human being, or else to analyze from which generation the particular gene is acquired, or character is acquired, or disease is acquired. So likewise, the here in pedigree we can do analysis in the particular character which is transferred from one generation to another generation. Maybe it can be a disease. It can be a disease also. In this chapter, we are going to discuss about genetic disorders. What is genetic disorders? There will be a little change in the DNA sequence, or sometimes in the chromosomes, or in genes. Yesterday, we discussed about, the change may happen in the one of the base pairs in the DNA. One of the base, even among the adenine nucleotide, guanine nucleotide, thymine nucleotide, and cytosine nucleotide, any one of the base may undergo mutation. Due to this, we discussed in the previous class as due to this mutation, beneficial process also may occur, and lethal disorders also may occur. So this is what we are going to discuss in this chapter, that is genetic disorders. So genetic disorders are the disorders due to change in genes or chromosomes. There are various kinds of genetic disorders are there. Okay, so mainly these genetic disorders are classified into two, based on that whether it takes place in the gene of the genetic material or it takes place in the chromosome. If the disorder takes place in the chromosome, which is known as chromosomal disorder, if the genetic disorder takes place in the gene, then it is called as Mendelian disorder. So genetic disorders were classified into two, namely Mendelian disorders and chromosomal disorders. Mendelian disorder, here the disorder takes place in one or two genes, whereas chromosomal disorder in chromosome level. Okay, either the intercalary deletion may happen, or apical deletion of the chromosome may happen, or the chromosome will, one or two chromosome will be added sometimes, or one chromosome will be deleted sometimes. So if the changes takes place in the chromosome, then it is called as chromosomal disorder. If the any changes occur in the gene, then it is called as Mendelian disorder. Now let us see what are the Mendelian disorders. How many diseases are there in Mendelian disorders? Here is hemophilia, sickle cell anemia, color blindness, phenylketonuria, thalassemia, cystic fibrosis. So hemophilia, sickle cell anemia, color blindness, phenylketonuria, thalassemia, cystic fibrosis. These are all belong to Mendelian disorders. In these disorders, only one or two genes undergo changes. Chromosomal disorders. There are three chromosomal types of chromosomal disorders are given here: Down syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, Turner syndrome. Okay, Down syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, Turner syndrome. So these are the three disorders belong to chromosomal disorder. Okay, so one by one, let us discuss in this chapter. Okay, so Mendelian disorders. What is Mendelian disorders? The disorders caused by alteration or mutation in single gene. Make a note of it. If the disorder takes place in the gene, as we discussed, that hemophilia, color blindness, sickle cell anemia, phenylketonuria, thalassemia, cystic fibrosis, all of these diseases are belong to this disorders are belong to this Mendelian disorder. Okay, so let us discuss the Mendelian disorders one by one. Okay, so first comes hemophilia. Okay, so the disorders caused by the alteration or mutation in the single gene is called as, what is that? Mendelian disorder. And here all these hemophilia, color blindness, sickle cell anemia, phenylketonuria, thalassemia, cystic fibrosis. The pattern of inheritance of Mendelian disorders can be traced in, okay, a family by pedigree analysis. The pattern of inheritance of Mendelian disorders can be easily traced in a family by pedigree analysis. How we are going to check the Mendelian disorders are carried from one generation to another generation? How can we find out? So when we find it out easily, we can sometimes we can stop, transforming this particular gene into the next generation. So for that purpose, okay, pedigree analysis will be made. Clear? Look at this. See here, look at this. Mendelian disorder. Mendelian disorders may be dominant or recessive. The disorder may occur due to dominant or recessive. Look at this. Look at this. See, if you take the first problem, the Mendelian, as they discussed that the Mendelian disorder may be dominant or recessive. Sometimes the dominant gene, okay, carries the disease. Sometimes the recessive gene carries the disease. First, let us discuss about the Mendelian disorder, in which we are going to discuss about the disease which is occurred due to dominant trait or a dominant gene. See, as you know that, the circle represents female and the square represents male, isn't it? The affected male, see, the female is the circle is shaded. That means she is affected by the disease. Clear? Listen carefully. She is affected by the disease. Now the male is normal. If you look at the male, he is normal. And all the shaded one, the red color one, is diseased. See, some of the females are not, they are normal. Some of the females here in this family are normal. So these two are parents. Okay, female parent, male. Female always represented by circle, male always represented by square. Okay, so now they have 4 children. See, one girl and here 2 boys. Among these 2 boys, okay, this boy is affected, and this girl, see, 1 2 3 4 are belong to this family. And who are these people? So this male, this female marries this, male. She is belong to the different family. And here also, see, male marries a female. Okay, so now let us consider like this. How do this dominant trait, okay, here the disease is not mentioned, but if the disease is dominant, the disease is carried by the dominant trait, how it will be spread or transmitted to the upcoming generations is the concept. Let us consider this lady has, what's that, disease. Since it is shaded, we have to consider it as a disease. Now she might be having capital A, small a, capital A, dominant one. Since she has a dominant trait here, okay, she is affected. Now let us consider this male. Since he has recessive, he is normal. He is normal, recessive gene. Since he has a recessive gene, he is a normal person. Now, anyhow, you know very well that one gene, one gamete, one gene from here and one gene from here will be shared. Suppose the capital A and small a uh, combines together, then definitely the F1 generation will be, what is that, deceased, because the capital A is the dominant is there, since it is a dominant trait. Since this disease is occurred due to dominant trait, if one dominant comes also transmitted also, the F1 generation will be affected. Clear? So now look at this. Look at this. Since she has, sometimes it might be capital A also, possibility is there. Okay, and capital A small a also possibilities are there. Okay, now let us take this trait, capital A with small a small a, a male is normal. Now see, this girl is normal, this girl is normal, but when any of the gene from the female and this one shares together, definitely this girl might be, okay, affected. But here the diagram shows that she is not affected. Listen carefully, listen carefully, little complicated problem only. So if you understand one problem, then everything will be easy. See, if we consider she has both the traits are dominant, then definitely all the F1 generation will be affected. Whereas here the diagram shows that one male is, here one male is affected, and here one female is affected, and here one female is affected. But other, all the generations, okay, all these, gray shaded boxes or circles are not showing any trait, so they are normal. So how they can be normal? Since the mother has capital A small a, so that these guys, okay, the gray color guys, male or female, they received small a from female and small a from male. So that's why they, since this is a recessive trait, both are recessive trait, they are normal. Okay, but you just take these two fellows. Okay, you just take these two fellows. See, he can be received capital A from the mother and small a from the father, so he is affected. So since dominant trait is acquired, he is affected. And let us take this girl also. She might be received a dominant trait from the female and recessive trait from the male, so that she is also affected. So since she is already affected, when she marries a man, normal man, okay, so here they have shown, in the diagram they have shown two normal and one affected. Since one is affected, she might be receiving one dominant allele from the female and recessive allele. Since it is, since he is a normal person, one recessive allele is received by this girl. So hence, okay, therefore this girl shows, what is that, affected trait. So this is how the dominant trait expresses. Okay, so if she is affected by the dominant trait, so then if both the alleles are homozygous, that means capital A, capital A. Okay, then definitely all the F1 generation, F2 generation, F3 generation will be affected. Okay, whereas because continuously, sometimes there is no possibility also. See, if she is capital A, okay, small a is also available here. So if these two are received by this, girl, she will be affected. Suppose, or one capital A and one small a is received by this girl, she will be affected. And this man, when she marries a normal person, the small a, when the small a combines together, okay, there will not be any possibilities for, what is that, the affected person. So such kind of method is also there. So sometimes, so if she is homozygous, if she carries a homozygous traits, so more people will affect, but and also F1 generation, all the in F1 generation, all the generation people will look at this. See, just now we discussed about how do the autosomal dominant trait inherited, okay, and if one of the parent is affected by the dominant trait, and how this dominant trait will be carried to the next generation. Now we are going to discuss about how, if the recessive trait is there, if the disease is caused by the recessive trait, then how it will be transmitted to the upcoming generations or generation after generations. Look at this. Let us consider the second one. Okay, the first one, dominant character. Example for autosomal dominant trait is myotonic dystrophy is the name of the disease. Myotonic dystrophy. And example for recessive trait is sickle cell anemia. It's one of the example for sickle cell anemia. Here, how do this disease occur? It is due to, what is that, recessive trait. See, now, since this disease is caused by recessive trait, the parents are normal. But here in F1 generation, the disease is shown here. See, if they are normal, they might have capital A and capital A. If both the parents are capital A, there is no chance for this disease. They might have the trait like this, capital A small a and capital A small a. Now, if the young one receives these two genes, it will be capital A, it is non-affected or normal person. If the F1 generation acquires these two also, normal, because the recessive trait is not expressed here. Suppose these two are mingled together, both the recessive alleles mingled together, definitely he or she might be receiving, what is the disease. He or she might be affected. So now you understand, I hope you understand what is meant by the recessive, autosomal recessive disease. Okay, so this is how the recessive disease occurs. So little later we'll discuss briefly about this sickle cell anemia. Now, so this pedigree analysis help to understand whether the trait is dominant or recessive. Dominant or recessive. Now, first let us discuss about hemophilia. Hemophilia. See, in the previous topic we discussed about the disease which is occur due to dominant trait, the disease which is carried through the recessive trait, and now we are going to discuss that the disease which is carried by the X-linked chromosome. Where do the X chromosomes are there? In the gametes. Okay, in the gametes. So some of the traits are seen. Okay, disorders can be seen in the X chromosomes also. X chromosomes also. So hence, if any disorder seen in the X chromosome, it is called as X-linked chromosome, X-linked disorder. Okay, X-linked disorder, and also it is called as sex-linked disorder. Okay, sex-linked or X-linked, because X is seen only in the sex chromosomes. So since the disorder is seen in the what is that, X chromosomes, they are also called as a sex-linked or X-linked diseases. So if it is X-linked, okay, normal female chromosome, that is the chromosomes in the sex, that is in sex chromosome, in female, we know very well that the chromosomes are mentioned like this, X and X. These are exactly capital X and capital X. Okay, if one of the X is recessive, the recessive X is always mentioned like this, X dash. Okay, X dash. hence this disease is this hemophilia disease is occur in X-linked chromosome, and that too a recessive X chromosome. It is called as XH. We can also mention it as a XH. If the XH is seen, it is a recessive one. Normal X is a dominant one. Okay, so H for hemophilia. H for hemophilia. Okay, so XH. This female will be a carrier. This female will be a carrier of this hemophilia disease. Okay, hemophilia disease, and XH, if the female consists of the chromosome, both the chromosome like XH and XH, both will be recessive. She is definitely affected by the disease hemophilia. Okay, if she has just X and X, she is a normal person because she has, what is that? Dominant, both the X dominant. Are you clear? I hope that, see, you came to know the difference between the dominant X chromosome and recessive X chromosome, and also you came to know that which female is carrier and which female is affected and which female is normal. So XX female is normal, and XH this female is a carrier, and both the X consist of XH and XH. She will be affected woman. Okay, now in male, let us take in male chromosomes. Male chromosome consists of X and Y, isn't it? Since it is X-linked chromosome alone, there is no problem for Y. But there is one thing is there in which, look at this, if the female carries X and XH and male is normal X and Y, when these two parents gives young one, suppose these X and these X, if these two X mingle together, normal female will be produced. If this X and Y, normal male will be produced. Suppose this X and this X, XH and X produces carrier female. Suppose this XH and Y, XH and Y, so this male will be affected. He is not carrier because it is not Y linked, it is X linked. So if a male receives any one X recessive trait or XH, he will be affected. Whereas in female, she has to receive H, that is both. When both the chromosomes are recessive, then she will be affected. But for male, X alone, if this X alone is a recessive one, then definitely he'll be called as affected person. Okay, so now let us briefly discuss about this disease. Listen carefully. So hemophilia is also called as a royal disease. Why it is called as a royal disease? Let me tell you little later. It is a sex-linked or X-linked recessive disease. In this, a protein involved in the blood clotting is affected. You know very well that fibrinogen, which are proteins which has to involve in blood clotting, is it not? Yes. So when you study about blood, so blood constitutes plasma, RBC, WBC, and thrombocytes, isn't it? So plasma consists of water, and also it consists of some immune system, albumin, globulin, and all. And then when come to RBC, it consists of more hemoglobin to absorb oxygen, to carry oxygen. And if you take WBC, white blood corpuscle, the function of white blood corpuscle is involving in the immune system. Okay, it has two kinds of cells, namely granulate and agranulate. Likewise, the agranulate cells are lymphocytes. There are two kinds of lymphocytes, B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes, eosinophils, monocytes. Likewise, so many WBCs are there. And finally, you might have studied about thrombocyte, blood platelets. Here, how do the blood clotting will happen when a person injured? Immediately, okay, the thrombin produces fibrinogen. The fibrinogen is dissolved in nature, so immediately the fibrinogen will be converted into fibrin with the help of calcium ion. Okay, calcium ion, and immediately a cluster of platelets will be formed around the wound, and it protects or it stops the bleeding. So this is known as coagulation. It is called as coagulation. Okay, so this will be made. So the fibrin is nothing but it is a protein. Since this X-linked, one of the X chromosome or both the X chromosomes are recessive, these recessive chromosome, okay, do not have the protein. The protein which is involved in the blood clotting is will be affected. Blood clotting will be affected. So that what happens, since there is no blood clotting factor or agglutination factor is not there, immediately what happens, the blood will ooze out, continuously oozing out. The simple cut results in non-stop bleeding. It is controlled by a pair of, what is that? A pair of allele called capital H and small h. H is a normal allele. XH is a normal. X capital H and X small h is a carrier, female carrier. Okay, X small h and X small h is a hemophilic female affected. Okay, hemophilia. And X capital H and Y is a normal male, but X small h Y is a hemophilic male. One X H small h is enough to cause this disease. Okay, so this disease in females, hemophilia is very rare because it happens only when mother is at least carrier and father hemophilic, unavailable in the later, unviable in the later stage of life. So Queen Victoria was, carrier of hemophilia. So her family pedigree shows many hemophilic descendants. Many hemophilic descendants. See the family of Queen Victoria. Okay, and their names also given here. So Prince Albert and Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria was a carrier, and her one of the daughter is also carrier. When this daughter marries a man, who is affected, it causes lots of carrier, and see all the male generations are affected. The females are only carriers here. Okay, when they receive both the X chromosomes recessive, then definitely the females will be affected. Okay, so here it shows that the pedigree chart of Queen Victoria. Look at this. Now let us discuss about color blindness and another Mendelian disorder. Okay, color blindness. This color blindness also sex-linked or X-linked recessive. Okay, sex-linked or X-linked recessive. Disorders due to the defect in either red or green cone of eye. Our eye consists of cones in retinal region. Okay, so red cone and green cone. It results in failure to discriminate between red and green color. That is the problem. See, if X chromosome is affected, what happens? It leads to this color blindness, so that he cannot discriminate between red and green, he or she. It is due to mutation in some genes in X chromosome. In X chromosome, the particular gene undergoes what is that? Mutation. So due to this, okay, this disease occurs. It occurs in 80%, 8 percentage of male, but only 0.4 percentage in female, because already we know very well that since it is a X-linked chromosome, let us take like this: uh, X and X is a normal female, X and Y is normal male. Suppose one X consisting of color blindness, then she will be carrier. If this X combines with this Y, XCY, definitely he'll be affected. Suppose this female, if we take this female with this X chromosome, female X chromosome with male X chromosome, then XCX, definitely the female will be carrier. So rarely they will be getting this disease, female will be getting this disease. But since the male has one Y, when the one X, that is a recessive chromosome involved with the Y, then definitely he'll be affected. Clear? So the normal person can identify all the green, yellow and red colors, whereas the color blindness people, okay, so little pale green, they will see the green as a pale green and pale yellow, and the red will be in a pale green, okay, or fluorescent color, so they cannot recognize the colors. So just here they've given one more puzzle here. Can you read the number in this picture? If no, then you may have color blindness. So it is 74, is it not? Yes. So these color blindness people, those are the people, those who are affected by this disease, cannot observe or see red and green. Okay, so due to the cone which is affected in the retinal region. Okay, uh, for this, one of the gene is responsible. Okay, the gene is present in the X chromosome. Okay, that too a recessive X, chromosome. So this is one of the disorder. Look at this. The color blindness is explained beautifully.